Tonight, your child will tell you a monster lives under the bed. Tomorrow, they'll insist their stuffed rabbit is truly alive. And somewhere in between, they'll ask you, completely seriously, if their toy car will feel lonely in the garage overnight. You'll laugh it off. You'll say it's just imagination. But the real answer is far stranger than imagination. Your child's brain isn't confused about reality. It's running on a different operating system than yours, one that hasn't finished installing the boundary between real and pretend. Think about that for a second. An adult brain treats reality like a locked door. Fiction stays on one side. Fact stays on the other. A child's brain treats reality like a door that's still being built. The hinges aren't attached yet. The frame isn't set. So things wander back and forth freely, and nobody stops them at the threshold. Here's where it gets interesting. Researchers used to think young children simply couldn't tell fantasy from reality, that they were, in some sense, cognitively behind. But developmental psychologist Jacqueline Woolley at the University of Texas ran a series of studies that flipped this idea on its head. She found that children as young as 3 could correctly identify which characters were real and which were pretend when asked directly and calmly. So the confusion wasn't about intelligence. It was about something else entirely. What was it then? It was belief formation. Children don't yet have a fully developed filter for evaluating evidence. Adults build belief through years of accumulated proof. You don't believe in flying pigs because you've never seen one, and you build a mental model of the world where pigs, categorically, do not fly. A 4-year-old hasn't built that model yet. Their world is still under construction, and almost anything could, in theory, be added to the blueprint. This is why a child can watch you pour orange juice and casually ask if the juice remembers being an orange. It's not nonsense. It's hypothesis testing. Their brain is asking, could this be true? And without years of evidence stacked against it, the answer defaults to maybe. Now here's the part that surprises most parents. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature. And it might be one of the most important cognitive tools a young brain ever builds. Harvard psychologist Paul Harris spent decades studying imaginative play in children, and his research suggests something remarkable. Pretend play isn't wasted mental energy. It's a training ground for reasoning about possibilities that don't yet exist. When a child imagines a teddy bear is sick and needs medicine, they are simulating cause and effect. They are practicing empathy. They are rehearsing social scenarios they haven't lived through yet. The imaginary world isn't a distraction from learning. It is learning. Think of it like a flight simulator. A simulator doesn't lift off the ground, but the pilot inside, it is building real skills for real flight. A child's imaginary friend, their monster under the bed, their belief that the moon follows the car home. These are simulations. Low-stakes rehearsals for a mind that will eventually need to handle high-stakes reality. But why monsters? Why is it so often something frightening? This is where the developmental psychologist Jean Piaget's early work becomes useful, even decades later. Piaget observed that young children experience something called magical thinking. They believe their thoughts and the physical world are directly connected. If a child thinks something scary right before something bad happens, some part of their brain links the two. Not because they're irrational, because their brain hasn't yet built a strong wall between internal experience and external cause. So when a child fears a monster in the closet, they aren't being irrational. They're applying the same reasoning tool that helps them believe in Santa Claus, in tooth fairies, in birthday wishes coming true. It's a single cognitive mechanism. Sometimes it produces delight. Sometimes it produces fear. Same wiring, different output. Here's the twist most people never consider. This blurry boundary between real and pretend doesn't just disappear because children get older and gain facts. It closes because of a specific cognitive shift called executive function development, largely centered in the prefrontal cortex. This is the brain region responsible for filtering, inhibiting, and evaluating competing information. In early childhood, this region is still forming its connections. It's like a security guard who hasn't finished training. Information walks past without being properly checked. As this region matures, usually across ages 5 through 10, children get better at asking a crucial question before believing something. Does this match what I already know about how the world works? Adults ask this question almost instantly, unconsciously, thousands of times a day. Children are just beginning to learn how to ask it at all. So when your child insists the tooth fairy is real, or that their shadow can see them, they aren't being silly. They're mid-construction. Their belief filter is being built in real time, board by board, and you're watching the scaffolding go up. Now here's the modern mirror, the part that connects directly back to you. You might think you've long since grown out of this blurry boundary. But have you? Think about the last time a scary movie made your heart race. Even though you knew, logically, none of it was real. Think about how a sad song can make you cry, despite knowing it's just sound waves arranged in a pattern. Somewhere inside you, this same mechanism that let a toddler believe a stuffed rabbit was alive still flickers on, just quieter, just more controlled. Adults don't lose magical thinking. They learn to manage it. You still, in small ways, treat lucky socks as if they carry power. You still, in small ways, talk to your car when it won't start, as if it can hear you. The wiring never fully disappears. It just gets buried under layers of evidence and self-control. This is why storytelling works on you the way it does. Why you cry at fictional deaths. Why you feel real anger toward a villain who has never existed. Your brain briefly reopens that same door your child walks through constantly and lets fiction and feeling blur together, just for the length of the story. So the next time your child tells you their toy is sad or that a monster lives behind the curtain, remember what's actually happening. You aren't watching confusion. You're watching construction. A mind still deciding what belongs on which side of reality's door, testing beliefs the same way scientists test hypotheses, one imaginative leap at a time. And maybe, just maybe, the next time a movie makes your throat tighten or a song makes your eyes sting, you'll recognize the same wiring at work in you. Not a flaw, not a childish leftover, just a door that never fully closed, one that lets you feel real things about a world that isn't quite real at all. Tonight, when your child insists the monster under the bed is real, remember that somewhere in